All right, away we go on a Wednesday podcast. Al, what's in your butt?
Today is Wednesday, Jerry. Let me take a quick look. Nothing in my butt right now, Jerry. Thank you for asking, though. I appreciate that.
I understand. Yes.
I think a lot about. I think you and I both think a lot about this, like money, like what people
Oh, all
have
the time.
money,
Mm-hmm.
what things cost.
For sure.
This idea that like my YouTube feed is filled with people that talk about not having money for things, but then
Okay.
we talk about the reality.
Yeah.
Of, concerts are sold out, dinners, try to book a flight, like
Yeah.
everything's things that cost money.
Yep.
So I wondered why, and I fall into this category, why we assume people don't have money. Like, for example, if I had something if I was like, I'm going to come up with an Allen Jerry hoodie.
Yeah.
And I'd really like to sell it for $90.
Right.
In my head, I would be like, people don't have $90 for this.
Right.
Why do I and some people assume people don't have money?
Well, it's that all right, for a couple of different reasons. I will be honest. I look at people that don't have families. I think they have money. I think married couples that don't have kids, I think have money, assuming they have jobs, decent jobs. Having gone through the whole kid thing, as I have for the last 20 years, I don't understand how a lot of people have extra money to spend, given the fact most of your fun money, as I like to call it, goes to the kids.
Yeah.
And that's not for everybody. For me, it's been private school tuition and high school tuition and now college tuition. I've been doing that since 2009. So it's been 16 years of paying tuition of some sort. And for the last 10 years, it's been double tuition once my little guy went to kindergarten and went to that same school. So I know what I make, which I think is actually pretty good. And there are months where I feel like a king, and there are months where I feel broke because this tournament costs this amount of money. This dental bill just came in and they want their money now. This medical bill, wow. And then tuition is due. And I sit there and look around and I know what this person does for a living and I know what their wife or husband does. And I'm like, I don't know how they pay their mortgage. So I think it's more the family thing for me, more than just a general societal question.
So if I'm going to throw a couple scenarios at you,
Sure.
and you're going to tell me, do you think they have money to like go on vacation, go to concerts, go to dinners?
And when you say that, you mean the money's in the checking account.
Yeah,
and
they're not borrowing
just debit
the
it,
money.
and we're all good to go. We're not using credit cards.
Yeah, I'm going to, in these questions, these scenarios, you're going to tell me they could pay cash for this.
Okay.
So I have my nephew is 26 in finance, whatever that means. I don't know what it means.
Yeah.
I know he works at a finance place. He's 26.
Yeah.
He lives in New York City.
Does he really?
Does he have, well, he's got roommates.
Okay.
He lives in New York City with roommates. Does he have money?
I only one question I would like to ask before I can answer that question. Does he have college loans?
No.
He doesn't.
His parents paid for those.
Yeah, I'm going to say he's doing okay then.
So he's got cash.
I think he's got money to burn.
Okay. My niece is also 26.
Mm-hmm.
She's a nurse in a big city.
Mm-hmm.
Does she have money?
Single?
Yeah.
I don't know how she wouldn't.
Okay, good. What about if I didn't give you an occupation for those two and I just said a 27-year-old living in New Jersey, they have a 1-bedroom apartment. Does the average 27-year-old have money to burn?
Yeah, you have to have the occupation.
Yeah.
You have to, because...
But do you think the average 27-year-old has the occupation right now the way we assume things are?
I don't know.
It's so confusing.
Because back in the day at 27, you were already married, thinking about kids and into your career. 27 today, I think there's still a lot of 27-year-olds that live home with mom and dad that have maybe a decent job, maybe a job as they're still trying to find themselves, or they're working hourly at I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I know, that's what I mean. Like, I'm trying to think, because one side of everything I see and hear is that younger people in their 20s and 30s even don't have money.
Well, it depends on what they're paying for. I mean, I think that to me that's the dividing line.
Here's what I'll say. If you assume, and I know it's a big assumption, if you assume there's no college debt,
Mhm.
so somebody who's 28 years old,
Right.
do most 28-year-olds have a job where they can afford to have an apartment of their own and have a car and go to dinner on once a weekend to go out?
All right, so for one, yeah, dinner once a weekend for
You think
sure.
so?
I think 27, 28 years old, if you can't afford, let's say, $400 a month on a car with your rent and be able to go out to dinner,
And
you
what
need
would
a new job.
and what would you think the rent is?
Where?
Like when I say, a suburb of New Jersey.
A suburb of
Yeah.
for a one
Yeah,
bedroom
1 bedroom.
apartment, I'm gonna say you're talking at least 1,800. I'm gonna even say maybe 2,000 a month at this
Yeah,
point.
I think it is over
Might be
2,000.
2,000 a month now. I mean, just as an example, all right? I'm not gonna give you the amounts, but only because I've done this. I did this actually a couple of months ago. I just pulled out our monthly expenses. I'm not gonna give you the amounts, but I'm just gonna run down every month what we have to pay every month. And I think this would be fair for every family, I would think. Family of 4, let's say. That's what we are. Now we have 3 cars in the family because my son's 20. I have 2 car payments. My car I just paid off. So I'm finally free and clear of my car payment. But I do have 2 car payments for my wife and for my son's car. With that comes car insurance. With that can come repairs. My car is older, so I do have to deal with that from time to time, as you know. I do have 2 credit card balances, so every month I do have to pay that. And no, I don't pay them in full, but I do have 2 credit card balances. I have my Amex, the green Amex one, which is due in full every single month. Now, I will tell you on that Amex bill is my car insurance, which we know is not cheap. I have the Verizon Fios bill. I've got a number of streaming services on it. Long story short, I will tell you my Amex Green card is about $1,000 to $1,200 every month that has to be paid. So I got that. I've got insurance, life insurance. I've got numerous policies of life insurance. We've got the 529 plan. I've got the cell phones. That comes out of the checkbook, not that. I am trying to, and I've been good for the last 3 months, paying taxes monthly because every year I owe a fortune. So that's become a bill. I've got the gas bill, I've got the electric bill, I've got the landscaping bill, I've got the sewer bill, we've got the water bill. I haven't mentioned the mortgage yet, have I?
No.
Nor have I mentioned the groceries. You add all that up, that's why I think I don't understand how some people live in monster homes
Yeah.
with what I would deem very normal jobs.
Right.
And I didn't give you everything. I
Yeah.
looked at that very quickly.
When do you think it happened that they that there that something happened wherein a very normal everyday job could afford you a house and a car and now it can't? Like when do you think that
I
happened?
truly do believe this, and I said this to you last month. I do believe the mass usage of the credit card has allowed people to spend way beyond what they should. And because of that, a lot of prices have gone up. Now, supply and demand is obviously the number one factor. If you've got a million people that want to come over from Brooklyn, Queens, and Staten Island and move into Jersey, and you don't have the supply for them, that's going to drive prices up for sure. But I do think a lot of people overspend.
But the biggest probably I guess the biggest thing that changed over time is the percentage of your take home pay that's going to housing,
Right. So
right?
because the pay is not keeping up with the cost of the housing.
Right. Whether you're renting or purchasing.
Yeah. I mean, you think about, look, for instance, I think you and I are in the same boat. I think the cost or the value of our homes right now is 100% more than what we bought it for. Which turns out to be a great investment. Not so great for the person that might want to come in and buy our house, though. And that for us is 7, 8. For me, I'm there 7.5 years. You're there probably
5.
5 years. So think about that increase in 5 years for the property value. Last time I checked, most people's salaries don't go up 100% in 4 or 5 years. They go up 2% every year. How is it keeping up with everything?
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Yeah, that I think is been the biggest thing where younger people are saying we're at a disadvantage
Yeah,
to our parents is that the housing price and how much of your take home pay is going to housing.
right. And you've also got, when I watch a lot of these things too that I don't love, a lot of them will say, you know, you can spend 28% of your gross income. That's not a fair number because your gross income doesn't factor in the taxes you have to pay. It really should be, what's the percentage of the net income, number one. And number two, you need to break that down by region
Yeah.
because it's simply not fair. Like, it is not affordable. Like, 28% of your net income in Mississippi might get you a much nicer property or a bigger property if you've got kids and you need a bigger home than what 28% of your net income is in the tri-state area here or in California. It's not apples for apples. And these experts do these all these videos making it like, if you live in America, that no, I'm sorry, living in Texas is not the same as living in Minnesota, and living in New York is not the same as living in Tennessee. It's not fair. There's truth to what they're doing, sure, not for here.
Yeah. I don't know what has to happen in order for this to get
I
evened
don't
out,
know. I don't know that it does.
for somebody who's 30, 32.
Yeah, I don't know.
What do
It's a
you
great
what do
you
you
hope you
do?
make more money. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess that's what it is, right? You have to make more money because the housing is not going to get cheaper.
Now, there's one thing we didn't mention. When you talk about the 1970s or 80s and the normal middle class costs, and it was easier in 2025. I don't know what the percentage is, but I would say most households now, the both husband and wife both work full-time jobs.
Yeah.
So you do have increased revenue coming in a lot of cases. But even that, when you look at homes that, like, nice middle class homes that are costing seven, eight, $900,000, even if both parents are making, let's say, 90 grand each, let's say 100 each, you're bringing in $200,000 a year with all those other expenses. I just thought it's not a lot of money if you have a $900,000 home. It's just not.
Yeah, that I always find it strange too how much people will spend on daycare versus what the mother is
Yeah.
earning at the job she's doing
Right.
instead
Mom's
of
got a
daycare.
$100,000 a year job, but the daycare costs $30,000 a year. Mom's job after taxes is probably $62,000. So you're really making $32,000 to work full time for that $100,000 a year job.
Right.
Looks good on paper. It's not great though. Like, you need to make more. It's hard.
Yeah, very hard.
It's like you're just paying to pay someone to watch your kids. And I feel it's horrible. It really is. It's a terrible situation.
But no matter the era, housing is always expensive. Like there's not a time where we went like when you bought your house, which is worth now a lot more. I
Mhm.
bought my condo, same thing. When I bought that, I wasn't like, "Oh, this is cheap. Let me get in here." I remember looking at that
Sure.
price tag going, "This is ridiculous for this."
Yeah. And now look at what it's worth. I know. I know. I'm well aware.
So it's never like housing never feels affordable. I guess until you get into something and then 5 years later, when you then look at what
I
that
sup
property would cost.
I suppose. You're
Yeah.
probably true. I mean, I was looking at my mortgage bill the other day, and we're 2 years into a refinance because we were able to, or maybe even 3 years. We got the finance number down to like 2.7, which is crazy,
Yeah.
2.7%. My property taxes are more than my mortgage when you look at interest and principal. I took I'm like, and I don't know how I didn't notice this
Yeah.
before. Now our property taxes the last few years have gone up significantly. They're more than the mortgage. I looked at mine, I'm like, what are we doing
Yeah,
here?
that's stupid.
It's insane, but not affordable. You're right.
All right, Jerry, we have a meeting we have
We
to go
do.
to. Let's pick this up another time.
Yes, I like this topic.
Let's do the warm-up show next. We'll see you tomorrow on a Thursday. See ya.